So many clients complain of not being able to get through the ball, complete their finish in a nice balanced, poised motion. Today I've got a very simple drill that's going to give you speed and movement. Today I really want to talk about the follow through. On the back of my most recent lesson with David Jones, which you can find up here in the top right hand side of the screen there, I talk about the follow through, and for many of you in the comments have really said this was a light bulb moment. So I wanted to go into it a little bit more in depth into how you can start to make the right shoulder, the left hip talk to each other to add that compression on the golf ball that's going to allow that golf ball to draw to your target. Now, the sensation of low and left for many has been a source of instruction. How that club can track around to the left to hit a shot that's really quite neutral. Now, for many, that will feel like, well, surely, Stuart, low and left is going to only make me hit a ball that slices out to the right. The reality is the ball slicing out to the right is simply your face to path value, the 5 degrees of open face to the path. Top of the pile, if you need to change that, go fix your grip. It is a cold and collected way of offsetting the face being open to your path. Go check out my video series on the grip. But the way this left hip works in a through swing is very much how that left hip works back that allows the right side to come through. You will have seen me using the leaderboard. It is a training aid that was made by a chap called Steve Bann in conjunction with Stuart Appleby, Vern McMillan as well, and it was all about changing the way your feet worked. Now, as time's gone on, the drills that it was originally used for, I've adapted to my own thoughts and philosophies that you see on my channel. Now, the way the skate moves out really gives you an insight into where the pressure in your feet is coming from and going to. In a downswing, we have been, for so many years, instructed to step towards the target. Now, unfortunately, someone like a Gary Player, great golfer, absolutely not taking anything away from Gary's game and performance, always had that step through, and it's really been the instigator of many pieces of instruction. This would mean that at the top of the backswing, as we start to swing down, we really start to use that right foot to push ourselves forwards. Let me just push that in, or else it could end badly. As I pull on the golf club, the pushing down with the right foot driving the weight forwards, you could appreciate that as I'm pushing with my right foot, my left foot goes light. Because if I'm using my right foot, the left foot's not receiving any of the energy. This moves my pelvis sideways. In the instruction that I gave David Jones, I really talked about how the left foot in the through swing really starts to encourage the right hip back. So when you think about what's going on now, as I pull on the golf club and I start to feel how that left foot works in my downswing, for many of you, it will be perceived that it's pushing weight onto my right side. Now, it would be that way if I was only using my lower half, but of course I'm using my upper half as well. So as I'm pushing the weight into my right foot, it now gives me the opportunity, if I was to keep my chest on top of where the golf ball is, as I push the weight into my right foot, if my top half goes with the foot, I would stay side on. If I kept my top half on top of the golf ball, on top of my left foot, it now gives me the opportunity to open up my chest I now put my left hand underneath my chest. And let me just cast the club aside. I put my left hand on top of the golf ball and I push my left hip and my right shoe away from the target. At this point here, does that look like I'm now sitting back in the same way as I do with this drill now? So I get this opportunity to use my left foot to open my hip up. Now when the left foot opens my hip up and now gets my chest around, can you see this left track of the grip now all of a sudden is very much a response to how my lower half and upper half are working. So I push the energy back towards my right foot and I move the golf club through at the same time, and I now set myself up to the golf ball. I take my usual stance, I draw my right foot back to my lead foot. I now make some little back swings, 1/3, and I now start to move the club down. And as I move the club down, I start to step across. What this now starts to do is free my chest up. And as you can see, start to move the golf club inside on the way through. So I set myself up, I draw my right foot to my left foot. I make a 1/3 backswing. And now as I move down, I step across and I strike the golf ball. Not easy, this. But look what's happened to the path line. Look what's happened to the angle of attack. And look what's happened to the face to path value. Again, these are just gentle little swings. And it's changing where the energy is coming from when it comes to my feet, so that I can feel how my left side starts to push me around the golf ball. My left leg, my left hip, is putting energy into my right shoulder. I'm going to pull and I'm going to step. And I'm going to allow my right side to come forwards. Now my left side, my right side, inside out, 9 degrees. Move down, step across. Move down, step across. Now you can see I'm very much opened up. I'm opened up to the target. My golf club has traveled from the inside at 5.6 and I've hit down at 4.2. Yet for many of you in the finish of that swing, I was perceived to be sat back on my right foot and my chest facing the target. There's a moment in time, it's where I stopped. But of course, as I now go halfway back, pull the club and push the force back, as I push the force back and pull the club forwards, all of a sudden I get this crossover where the hip pushes back, chest drives forwards, which allows me to get this right shoulder staying down low enough that puts pressure on the grip. There is no sense of me trying to move the handle to the left. I'm really allowing the handle to move to the left by virtue of this push-pull with the right side. Push-pull with the right side. Push-pull with the right side. 5.8 down, 1 from the inside and dead straight face to path. Pull, push. Pull with the right side, push with the left side. You can see I can stay flat-footed. but it does not mean that my lower body isn't unraveling. Now we start to think about how that grip can now move around and move inside. Not because I'm trying to pull it in that direction, purely because I've mobilized my right shoulder. And if you accelerate the left side hard enough, the right side will obviously accelerate, because the left hip going back makes the right hip come forwards. The left shoulder going back makes the right shoulder come forwards. If the right arm is now long enough, I can now put force on the grip over here, which is down, down, and not sideways, shaft lean towards the target, garbage. Pressure down, move around. Pressure down, move around. The moving around comes from the pull. The pressure down comes from the offset of the leg action. It's very, very simple. Very, very simple. If you have a good grip, which means you're going to do some press-ups on your grip, that will give you that kink, that allows you to feel that pressure on the grip, that keeps that grip pressure and that shape of that wrist down through strike. Now, if you watched any of the ladies golf over the weekend and you saw Charlie Hull slow-mo through strike, did you see her left wrist bowing? Absolutely not. You saw her left wrist intact, good shape. Check out Charlie's grip. Magnificent. That's why she is such a good player. She'll get it over the line when she has a bit more maturity, I believe. But that is a grip that allows the force on the grip to move around and the club still to swing. But I wanted to touch on this, and I'm going to do another video later this week that talks about how this now works with driver, because it's a slightly different sensation with driver, purely because we're looking for angle of attack up. But how the left leg, right shoulder works is an absolutely crucial.
Are you tired of paying too much for your premium leather golf gloves? Head over to gxgolfgloves.com. These are gloves tried and trusted by elite amateurs and tour players alike. Enter my code GOODCOACHING to receive 10% off your next order. Go try them out. You won't be disappointed.
Relationship that those two have with each other. It gives you the impression that if you saw in the video I did with David, the impression that I'm sitting him back on his right side, but it just doesn't work that way. Hopefully that's been insightful, and if it's given you something, do consider subscribing while you're here. And that, my friends, is good coaching.